Hey guys, Ariana here with rockstardreams.com, and I'm hanging out in Echo Park with Alex Estrada, lead singer of Silver Snakes. You guys have so many cool things going on. How are you feeling about everything?
Very excited, very nervous.
You don't seem nervous at all, actually. Like from the moment I came in here, Alex is just like, listen, I'm sipping whiskey like I've got nothing else going on in the world.
This is what's most important to me at the moment. But yeah, we're nervous. We're excited. It's the biggest month ahead that we've ever had as a band. So
Yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't, aware or on the radar of what Silver Snakes are doing right now, they just signed on with Evil Inc. Records, who is actually founded by Claudio Sanchez of Coheed and Cambria. So what's the backstory on your guys' journey up to this point and how you connected with Claudio?
we got asked to play a show with Coheed and Cambria a few years ago in Tucson. It was just like a one-off, and it went very well for us. And we kind of just stayed on their radar for a few years. Knew their manager, and just kind of when it came time to do our new record, sent it out to a few places, and they're one of the first labels we sent it to. They liked it, and it kind of just snowballed from there. It wasn't too crazy of a situation, actually. They just liked it, wanted to put it out, and we delivered the album, and we've just been moving since then.
I mean, that sounds really simple, but to if you're at home who's like, dude, I have the most killer record, but like I can't just, it's not that simple, to send it out to somebody like Claudio to listen to it. So how did you get that first one-off show with Coheed and Cambria you were talking about?
It's it's LA, and that saying, it's like it's who you know. So we knew people, and they hooked us up with that gig. It was just sort
But
of.
then you followed through. I mean, that's just as important.
They were on tour with Iron Maiden at the time, and they were playing an off date, and they just they needed some bands to open. So us and our some good friends of ours from the area called Ages, we drove out to Tucson, played that one show. It went very well. One of those kind of things where it makes a lasting impression, and we wanted to actively pursue like a relationship with Coheed in the future, because that show did. So it did a lot for us. So. Yeah, that's how it really panned out.
Cool. So I know you guys are about to debut your album, Saboteur. It comes out on February 5th, so definitely watch for it. But we actually had a chance to listen to it in advance. Haha. We got it first. And, it starts off with the track Electricity. It really just grabs you right from the beginning, and then it takes you down this, like, dark, gritty journey, and you just kind of track after track after track just feel like you're being really encompassed in this kind of hard rock path. Tell me about the writing process that went into the record.
It was all about combining genres for the most part. That's the best way I could word it, I guess. We had done the straightforward rock thing for our last few records. Our first record was very just post-hardcore melodic rock. Second record got much darker. Third record, I didn't want to just do another normal, what I'd consider a normal rock record again. So started messing a lot more with electronics, and a lot of the dudes in the band, we like a lot of like stoner rock and metal and that kind of stuff. And that's where our influences are. We all come out of heavy bands. So it was all about just combining those things, combining like all the industrial influences I was listening to with the sort of like stoner rock influences the band had. And those are two genres that are they're regarded to be polar opposites, under the umbrella of rock music, I guess. One side is very just raw and psychedelic and stoner metal, and then the other side is very electronic, mechanical, drum machines, samples, stuff like that. So those aren't two things you hear combined very often. So I think once we locked that in, we wrote a song called Glass, and once that song kind of came together and we saw that we were able to marry the genres, it just snowballed from there. Everything kind of just came together. We found the direction for the album. It's what I've wanted to do for the last few years. And then, it just came together. Everything, we work a lot off of instinct, and that it was just perfect for us. It set us up onto the right path and to make the record, and all the pieces just fell into place. And it was a really fast process too. So we kind of just rolled with it, and, we were learning as we were going.
I think that kind of really multiple dimension rock sound comes out in Devotion, which is, I think, one of our favorite tracks on the album. And it starts out really melodic, and then it turns into kind of screamo. And then by the end, it's like this beautiful, soothing, calm instrumental outro. I mean, what went into that? Like, it kind of just feels to me like you took a shot of whiskey, punched the wall, and like walked into the recording studio. Like, what happened there?
We just rolled with whatever felt natural. I mean, that song's a good example of like you were saying, it kind of multifaceted. The beginning is all electronic. It's all these electronics. I had these crazy samples I pulled off. I was watching movies and old like horror movies and B movies, and literally pulling samples off the movies and then manipulating them. I have a recording studio, so I was doing all that on my own. Wrote that, ended up writing this part. It felt that it suited it to have heavier vocals and to have a heavy vibe for it. And we're coming off of a lot of touring with metal bands. You know, we did a full US tour with The Ocean. We did a tour with Vatnet Viscar. And these are really heavy, much heavier than us, or as people would consider us to be. So, you know, that was a lingering influence from all that touring we had done. So we were just open to whatever came. And like you were saying, it ends with all this melodic, you know, there's a big melodic outro to the song. And that's just, it's just what happened. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint it and say like that was intentional, this was intentional. All of it just came together. Those songs really piece themselves together.
Yeah, and it's really authentic to the research that you had done, and then even the influences of, you know, you wouldn't necessarily think, hey, it's like Tuesday night, I'm gonna watch a horror flick and then pull it into my like recording engineering software and like, you know, put it into a record. That's what I love about your guys' work, is that it's really authentic. So but going back, speaking about touring, how stoked are you to tour coming up with Coheed and Glassjaw?
Very excited. It's hands down the biggest thing we've ever done as a band. So especially we're doing the tour. We started about 2 weeks after this new album comes out. So there couldn't be a better time for us to go on tour. We just did a few weeks with Coheed and it was great. The crowd is amazing. That band has such a cool following and they've really accepted us being a part of, you know, Evil Ink Records. It's a whole family thing with them, and Coheed fans are diehards, and once you get that mark, that validation from the band, it carries over to them, which isn't something you find often. And then Glassjaw, that's another one. You know, that was one of my favorite bands when I was in high school. So that one hasn't really set in yet. The Coheed one, you know, we've had time for that to set in because we've done touring with them already, and we've done shows with them, and we've talked to them, and you know, Claudio's doing our record. But the Glassjaw one, I think the first date of that tour when we meet them in Boston, it's gonna be like, okay, we're going to be on the road with Glassjaw for the next like 6 weeks or whatever.
Will that be the first time you actually meet them in person? Is the first day of the tour?
I'm sure I have pictures of me with them when I was like 13 at Warped Tour or something. Sure. Yeah. So I mean,
I want you to make that into a t-shirt and then wear it the first day you see them and just be like fangirl all over that.
I've had too many experiences in the past that I've had to learn from being like the Punisher kid at shows. So
I think we've all had that moment.
Yeah, I can't do that. I already like promised the band I wouldn't. I'm just like, be like, oh, cool. Like, I think I'm familiar with some of your songs. Yeah.
I've like heard of you guys or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to be singing every word on the side of the stage. So
sweet. I'm sure they enjoy that. So I have kind of a random question for you. If you could co-write a song with anyone, dead or alive, anyone on the planet, who would it be?
Can it be like a few people, like in one thing, or
for you, Alex? Yeah, okay. Sure.
My dream collaboration. This is going to sound weird. I love that you asked me that question because I have this one ready to go. Trent Reznor, Timbaland, the hip hop producer, and Aaliyah.
Really? Like that combination, all in one room together, not separately. No, together.
Together, because Timbaland and Aaliyah always work together. I'm like really into like 90s hip hop stuff. That was one of my favorite teams like in the 90s, and then Trent Reznor's always been like my favorite producer, and you know, stuff like that for that kind of music. And I always thought, since I was like, I want to say 12 years old, I always thought that would be the craziest combination. I've been saying it forever. And I found out recently that they almost did work together on a song for like for some soundtrack right before she died.
Then they didn't, because they were like, Alex isn't here yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, and because she passed away. But that's one I wish. Hypothetical situation, that would be a dream collaboration. Really great. I don't know what role I would play in that whatsoever. I just want to be in the
moral support.
Maybe like make them coffee or something, but I just want to be in the studio when that happened.
If you had any advice for aspiring artists or bands who are trying to kind of scratch and claw their way to the surface, like you guys have, what would it be?
Just it's what I tell a lot of friends too. A lot of people worry about labels, especially this day and age. Like 2016 is, you know, it's a different time for rock music, and it's a different time to be a touring band. And at the end of the day, I think bands should just do what they want. I think a lot of bands are worried too much about what little crevice they fit in the world of rock music or hardcore or metal or whatever. And I think it's cool to like forge your own path and do what you do. And then, you know, sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't. We're kind of riding that wave, and we're a living experiment. You know, we're gonna see if what we're doing works. You know, it kind of goes with the title of the album. Like Saboteur could apply to a lot of things lyrically, and at the end of the day, when I was kind of explaining to the guys why I wanted to name the record that and the direction I wanted to go in with the record, it was like, it's kind of like self-sabotage, you know, like it's our third full-length record and we're completely shifting our style. Yeah. So
it's bold, for sure.
I think it is, and you know, we're very happy with the way the album turned out. So I think that's what it is. Like, as long as you're making music for yourself and it's music that you want to listen to, then I think you're fine.
I love it. Tell me about the tour dates and where we can find your music for anybody who's watching.
Everything's on you'rethesnakes.com, tour dates and all the links to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. And yeah, they'll start February 14th. We start in Flagstaff, Arizona. We're doing like 2 weeks out with the band I the Mighty from San Francisco. And then we meet up with Glassjaw and Coheed in Boston. And that's it. We're with them for a month and a half, from Boston to Denver, everywhere in between.
Awesome. Be sure to check them out. These guys will be on tour for a while, and then just be sure to listen to the new record, Saboteur. It's amazing. It's going to blow your mind. Thanks for watching. This is Alex Estrada and Ariane Escalante with rockstardreams.com.